So we're back with another Joe Biden gaffe video. Haven't done these in a couple weeks, but Joe Biden has started venturing out of his basement and he's bringing the gaffes with him. So we get a little bit more of those clips now to go over. And as the title says, the gaffes are getting worse. They keep getting worse. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what's going on. And he's almost completely reliant on a teleprompter or notes, even to get through interviews. He's having his lines fed to him. This is a really big deal. But we're going to start with not as much of a gaffe. This is more of Joe Biden saying something he's not supposed to admit. And it's Joe Biden telling a questioner that the police have become the enemy.
Surplus military equipment for law enforcement. They don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is
but
that...
do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that...
So I shouldn't laugh, but when the camera cuts to the questioner and he has this blank look on his face, I would have that look too if I just listened to the Democrat presidential candidate say that police have become the enemy. And what Joe Biden's saying is that because police get surplus military equipment, surplus Pentagon, surplus federal law enforcement equipment, that they have become the enemy. Now, it's true that police officers do get military grenade launchers, but they don't use them for explosives. They use them for tear gas. They do get armored vehicles, but if they weren't to get them, they would probably just get destroyed. They get body armor. They get riot shields. It's a program that's been in place for a while. But for Joe Biden to say that police have become the enemy, that soundbite, watch, that soundbite is going to become a major part of this campaign. Now, this next clip is Joe Biden claiming that 120 million Americans have died from coronavirus.
Drastically underestimate is the impact on the mental health of people who now everything is complicated. Not only is the healthcare piece, but people don't have a job, people don't have anywhere to go, they don't know what they're going to do. And a lot of people you have unnecessarily, now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. Over 100,
So that's it, 120 million. When you add the, what did he say, it was 100, 150, 200 million, however many hundreds of millions of people he said also passed away from gun violence. Joe Biden's body count in his mind is getting way up there. But no, 120 million people did not die from the coronavirus. This next clip, this one's disputed. Some people think that he's saying, I'm Jill Biden's husband, Joe Biden. But if you listen to it, it sounds like he's saying, I'm Joe Biden's husband, Joe Biden.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Lily already indicated, I'm Joe Biden's husband, Joe Biden.
So that's just going to be up into the ears of the beholder. When I hear it, I hear Joe Biden. I've heard him say Jill Biden, and I've gone back and listened to a lot of these clips of him. He likes to do that. He thinks it's funny saying he's Jill Biden's husband. Ha ha. But this time it really does sound like he said, I'm Joe Biden's husband. Let's play it one more time.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Lily already indicated, I'm Joe Biden's husband, Joe Biden.
Yeah, I hear him saying I'm Joe Biden's husband. Now you're free to think that he said Jill Biden. A lot of people hear it. I mean, I guess it's that meme from a couple of years ago. Do you see the white and blue dress, or do you see it yellow? I hear him saying I'm Joe Biden's husband, Joe Biden. Here's a clip of Joe Biden forgetting what city he just visited.
And I was just out in Harrisburg. Actually, I was just anyway.
So that's Joe Biden saying that he'd just been to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He wasn't. He went to Lancaster, which is 45 miles away. It's a big deal. Like he doesn't know what city he just visited. And we went back and looked. He was not in Harrisburg the day he's talking about right here. He was in Lancaster, which is 45 miles away, not very close. So Joe Biden still doesn't seem to understand where he is at any given moment. Here's Joe Biden having a hard time getting the words America first out of his mouth.
This guy's whole idea of America on its own.
So we'll play that again, but that's hard. He's trying to get the words America first out of his mouth, and it's just not coming out. Notice how he's not looking at the camera. There's a camera on him. He's supposed to be looking at the camera. He's looking at a teleprompter. That's what's happened. He's looking at a teleprompter off to the side to kind of feed him some lines. He can't read it though. He's trying to read the words America first, and they're just not coming out of his mouth. Let's play this one more time.
This guy's whole idea of America on its own.
Again, he can't get the words out of his mouth. Anyone who's gone through dealing with a family member suffering from dementia knows that one of the things that can develop is they lose that connection from being able to read things and just like read out loud, right? Not only are they having trouble like pulling memories out to fit certain situations, it's also well known that people just have a hard time reading things out loud. It's very, very depressing. So when you watch this isn't normal. It's not normal for a man like Joe Biden to be staring at a teleprompter, see the words America first, and he just can't get the word first out. He says, America, America. Yeah, I know. It's not normal. I mean, look at his face. He's struggling. He's struggling to get the words America first out. That is not normal. This next one is him again reading the teleprompter, and there's just gibberish. It's just gibberish. He doesn't actually say anything of importance during this clip. Let's watch it.
Lonnie knows I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed. What I proposed is it can be done. I think we're in a position to really make it happen. And my team and your team are already working closely together to light up the path forward here. Critical laws like the PRO Act to strengthen collective bargaining. On politics like prevailing and look. I guess I'm taking too much time, but you know.
So a couple things we need to talk about right there. There's two parts to this clip, and we're gonna play it again. The first part is where he starts saying we're posed or we posed, which is not like a thought. Like I think he was trying to say we proposed or we posed. He says we're posed, and then he starts speaking more gibberish, and then he says it can be done. I have no idea what he's saying. No idea. The second half, he keeps rambling on, and he realizes he's rambling, so he goes for his lifeline, which in his case is a teleprompter where his staff are feeding him things to say. And it's always a tell. You can tell. We'll play it again. You can look. With Joe Biden, when he starts reading the teleprompter more intently, he perks up straight, and he starts leaning over to one side. His left, I'm going the opposite way, but he starts leaning over, trying to squint and read, and he gives up on reading because he can't get the words out. He's trying to, but he can't get the words out. And then he says, listen, I'm just taking up too much of your time. He's being interviewed. He hasn't actually answered the question. He's trying to filibuster his own answering because he can't get the words out. So let's play this one more time. Watch for how he says gibberish and then says it can be done. And then watch how he gives up on trying to read the teleprompter.
Lonnie knows I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed. What I proposed is it can be done. I think we're in a position to really make it happen. And my team and your team are already working closely together to light up the path forward here. Critical laws like the PRO Act to strengthen collective bargaining. On politics like prevailing and look. I guess I'm taking too much time, but you know.
So that man failed to get a thought out organically, turned to the teleprompter, couldn't functionally read the teleprompter out loud, so then gave up and said he's wasting everyone's time. That's the most honest answer we've gotten from Joe Biden. Yes, these videos, without any coherent statements, they are a waste of time. But people need to see it. Because the fact that Joe Biden is leading Donald Trump in polls is ridiculous. People see this. There's no reason for it, which is why you need to share this video. More people need to see what's going on. More people need to see Joe Biden's obvious decline. This one's interesting. When he finally emerged from his basement and he started taking questions from the press, he got posed with the question, are you in mental decline? And his response was amazing. He said he's constantly tested for mental decline. Let's listen.
Last question real quick. Some have speculated,
You're a lying dog.
that you are subject to some degree of cognitive decline. I'm 65. I don't have word recollection that I used to have. I forget my train of thought from time to time. You got 12 years on me, sir. Have you been tested for some degree of cognitive decline?
I've been tested and I'm constantly tested. Look, all I got to do is watch me, and I can hardly wait to compare my cognitive capability to the cognitive capability of the man I'm running against. Thank you so much.
So right there, a couple things. Joe Biden says he's constantly tested. Now, Donald Trump mentioned this on Fox News that he thought he was referring to coronavirus. But earlier in that same speech, he admitted he has not yet been tested for coronavirus. So that was him being honest. He's being constantly tested for mental decline. Now, the question you need to ask is, why is someone constantly tested for mental decline? If they're saying, hey, he looks like he's slipping a little bit, let him take a test, right? When the media was saying Donald Trump was losing his mind, he said, you know what, just to shut him up, Trump said, let's go to Walter Reed. I'll take the test. He took the test once. He passed the test, and he never took it again, because you don't have to. If you pass the test, if you're fine, you don't have to keep taking the test. Joe Biden just said he is constantly being tested for mental decline. This is important. The reason that people are constantly tested for mental decline is to track the decline. If you are passing these tests, you don't keep taking them. You take them over a period of time so the doctors can graph a trend line. I don't want to sound like unsympathetic, but essentially they're trying to track how long he has before he loses his mind. That's why you have people taking these tests over and over and over again. Not because it's valuable if they're fine to take it over again, because it keeps getting worse and they want to track it and they want to see if the medication, if he's responding to medication, things like that. That's why someone would be constantly tested for mental decline. So it's a very obvious, it's a very honest answer actually from Biden, and it's shocking that the media hasn't picked up on this and asked for the results, right? Because if it was Donald Trump saying he was constantly tested, that would be the narrative. The second part of this clip is when he gets to that part where he's saying, I cannot wait to compare my cognitive ability to the cognitive ability of Donald Trump. He's not actually saying that from the heart. You can notice he turns and he's staring right at a teleprompter and reading that line off. That is a line that has been prepared for him. And he's going and reading it. What's my line? Oh, that's my line. Okay, I'll read my line. This man isn't a real candidate. He is a puppet. We've seen that Bernie Sanders, his campaign people are literally copying and pasting parts of Bernie's platform into Biden's platform. Copy and paste, complete copy and paste, not rewritten, copied it, pasted it, same thing. This guy's being fed what to say during live interviews. He's being fed what to say during his speeches, right? Anytime someone asks him a question outside of one of those kind of protected environments, he says, no time for questions. He only takes questions if there's a teleprompter there and he's able to use that, or if he has notes. If he has notes, then he'll use the notes because he can't think on his feet. He's lost his fastball. It's obvious. This one is not as much of a gaffe. It reminds me of that time when Joe Biden said in the debates that make sure people have the record player on for their kids. It seems very out of touch. But we'll play it, and I'll explain why I included this one.
You know, back in the 30s, when we had the first breakthrough in terms of for having union movement be able to move.
So I think it's funny because he's talking about the 30s. If you want to present yourself as a younger candidate, don't say, oh, back in the 30s. I mean, it's fine, though. He can say that. The funny part I found is that when he says we had a labor movement, and then he's searching for the word, and then he says, labor movement moved. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like saying, like, what do commentators do? They commentate. Well, no, they comment. It's one of those kind of things. He's searching for the word. He can't find it, so he just goes with move. Here's an example where Joe Biden literally was just asked a question, but he has to ask them to repeat it because he's already forgotten it.
And so you asked other parts of a question. I can't remember what other ones were. One was what I'm going to do about immigration. What was the other part? Is that it?
Jump back in. Can you hear me at least? I know you
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, it was what will you do specifically in that first 100 days when it comes to immigration?
Well, to send that, I have a bill written already.
Yeah, so say, what's the question again? Can you hear me? Not a good look. Not a good look for the man who wants to be the leader of the free world. And we see that without being able to look over the side and get what he's supposed to say from someone, without being able to look at a teleprompter, without having his notes, actually even with his notes, he is a stuttering mess. He doesn't actually know what to say. This is Joe Biden trying to give a speech.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
That was tough to watch. let's play it again.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
I mean, Donald Trump is having roundtables every single day. And not once have we ever seen him staring at a piece of paper and still unable to get the words out. This is a big deal, folks. To see what's happening, it's a really big deal. He can't hide it. He can't hide that he's on the teleprompter, because when he can't get the words out, he gives up. When he stares at his notes, he still can't find the words. He's looking around for help from people. There's people saying that the press conference he gave, where he said he has the cognitive capability, that might have been scripted, because he was required to go to specific people in specific orders for questions. So there's people now saying, well, did he have the answers lined up? Did he know the questions in advance? Really, really shady stuff, right? There's something going on here, as Trump would say. There's something not right there. Here is him being asked. This is what I mean. He's being asked about statues being removed. And in order to answer the question, he has to pull his notes out of his jacket to tell him what to say.
Statues, also the removal of names from institutions and schools. Do you think that this is the right approach to come to terms with our nation's history and its leaders? What do you think when you see the removal of some of these statues?
Well, I think there are sort of three categories I like. One, any institution.
So can we just real quick have a nice little virtual round of applause for whoever the people are doing the sign language for his events? I didn't include it here because it had some copyrighted music, but there are really funny videos online of the sign language interpreter trying to find something to fill the dead air in Joe Biden's stuttering. Very, very funny. So hats off to anyone willing to try and interpret these events. But you can see that he's being asked a softball question about pulling down monuments. All he has to say is, I don't support it. No matter what they do, what they said or did in the past, don't pull down monuments. What he said, though, was basically, you know what? Obviously, it'd be preferable if they didn't, but they're going to do what they're going to do. Not an answer you want from the President of the United States. And this last clip is from actually yesterday. Joe Biden's at an event, and the event is very sparsely attended. But he starts asking if it's raining and telling everyone to come in from the rain so they don't get wet. I'll explain why this is very funny in a second, but let's watch it first.
We're the only one that have that capacity to do it. If that's raining outside, come on in, guys. I don't want anybody out there. Are you guys in the rain? Or is that not rain? I thought that was rain. It is? You guys can come on in. Don't stay out there. But look, determination, resilience, and...
So that's funny. You have the interpreter trying to look around. Basically, she's saying, is it raining? Is it raining? Come in, come in. Joe Biden's acting like he has an overflow crowd. He's acting like this is a Trump rally, where a lot of Trump's rallies, if you don't know, are, at least in the 2016 campaign, he was flying all over doing 4 or 5 rallies a day sometimes. A lot of times, these rallies were in airport hangars, so there would be overflow crowds. Joe Biden's event today, as you can see, there's no one behind him on those risers. He's pretending for the audience that he has an overflow crowd and that it's just started raining. Now, apparently it did rain. There was some contention over whether it rained at all. Apparently it did briefly rain, but I want to play this video because you can see that there was no overflow crowd. There's barely anyone there. We're going to play this again. I'm going to pause. You see there's no one there. It's all media, Secret Service. That's the sign language interpreter. She's the only one at risk of getting wet. Everyone else at this event is in between Biden and the sign language interpreter. There's no one else there. It's media, it's photographers, it's the press, Secret Service, and Biden's own campaign staff. That's it. There's no one else there. So when Biden's saying, everyone, come inside, don't get wet, flee for your lives, escape the rain, he's talking to no one. There's no one there. Everyone's inside. There's like 20 people there tops. There's no one for him to be. This is political theater, pretending that he has a crowd. This is what we're up against. Joe Biden's in mental decline. It's obvious. He's a gaffe machine. And no one's showing up to his rallies, but they're trying to pretend that they are. This is his strategy to try and win the race. He really thinks that he can just play defense. The minute that people see this, he's toast. Which is why, again, it is so important that you share this video. Make sure you hit the share button. Give us a like and leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these. Which do you think would be the worst of these clips? What clip do you think is the worst? Let me know in the comment section. And again, please do give a thumbs up, hit the like button, and share it. Thanks.